We're
Brain
going
is
live.
coming.
Brain health. Brain health. What do
Brain
you think of that?
health.
Yeah, we're live on Facebook, everyone. You know, it makes me go live, but then it doesn't let me see what's going on. So
Right.
I got to put the title in and all
Then you're
that
like, am I
stuff.
live? Am I not live?
There we are. So good morning, Andrea, and welcome to the call. You know, here I am. I'm
Thanks,
back in
Doc.
North Dakota. I left Texas 2 days ago, and it was 80 degrees down there when I left.
Nice.
It was negative
That's
weather
that's
here.
like that's my top temperature. I melt after 80. So
Yeah, I like it at around 70, 80, right in there. It's good temperatures, especially in the summer. I don't like it when it gets over 100, but hey, we got to have warm weather too. Warm that ground up, get those crops growing,
yeah.
you know, and get some
Spring rain is coming.
fresh garden vegetables and all of that. I like that. I plan on planting a bigger garden this year.
Great.
Yeah, as we plan ahead for the future and staying healthy. Um, you know, Today we're talking about brain health.
Right?
Lots of dark green and red and yellow, orange vegetables. They're loaded with your antioxidants. That's your best source of antioxidants. And if you go to the grocery store and you buy your fruits and vegetables up here where I live or where you live over there, most of that
Mm-hmm.
stuff is picked. Most of it's picked when it's unripe, and then it ripens in a warehouse.
Right. You got to
And
buy from your local farmers.
and you can't buy from local farmers in the wintertime.
No, but you can in the summer.
Yeah, unless you freeze it yourself and things like that. But yeah, so a lot of the stuff that we get up here and you get over there, it comes from down south, and it's picked raw or unripe, and then it ripens, and so it's not loaded with all the antioxidants that you would when you get a ripe fruit or vegetable.
Right.
So anyhow, I wanted to point that out, and some of the recent studies are showing that the keto diet, like what we're promoting with our weight loss plan, is really healthy for
Mm-hmm.
brain health as well. Um, that instead of loading the brain with sugars, you load the brain with good healthy fats.
Yeah, and it's able to use the fats for fuel immediately versus carbs require insulin. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
better fuel.
I've been gone for a couple weeks, so I'm gonna run to the grocery store this afternoon, and I'm gonna load up with a lot of the good healthy stuff again. Get the fridge full.
Good plans.
Yep, good fats, lots of avocados and things like that. So, um, as we talk about brain health, we got to look at, um, you know, first, like we're talking about the fats, and so many people,
Mm-hmm.
they're looking at this keto diet, and I'm relating it back to that because a lot of people don't really know how to do the keto diet very well, and they just think, oh, it's a diet where you eat lots of meat. Well, meat has lots of protein, and it doesn't necessarily have lots of fat. So you got to get the fat, and then you got to think about, okay, there's healthy fat and there's bad fat. Right now in America, and you and I talked about this last week, and I'm going to hammer on it again, is that we have a ratio of the omega sixes to omega threes of about 16 to 25 to 1, depending on what source you're looking at. And some say that it's even worse than that. But omega sixes cause inflammation. Omega threes
Mm-hmm.
get rid of inflammation. And if you don't know what you're doing when you're choosing the fats that you eat, you're going to increase those omega sixes. You're going to have chronic low grade inflammation going on all the time, which triggers things like arthritis, autoimmune disorders, and brain disease, neurodegeneration
Mm-hmm.
of the brain.
Right.
So, so we have to talk about that. So, that's where products like Sizzle has their Super Omega product. It's got lots of the good omega threes in it. It's got a balance of the omega sixes, the omega nines, the omega fives, omega sevens. So I wanted to throw that out there. But the next product that we want to talk about, and it's currently unavailable. If you go on the Sizzle website and you want to order it, called Brain Vitality. I've still got some. I made sure that I had some enough for me, um, and before they ran out. But it'll be back available next week. So that's why I wanted to talk about it today, Andrea. And so as we look at the ingredients, can you read that ingredient list?
Not from here, I can't,
How come?
because I don't have my glasses on.
Oh, you need the Vital Vision, don't you?
I do.
I did. I'm just teasing. That's a pretty small print to be reading over a computer screen. But so I wrote down the ingredients in there, and then I went and looked up each ingredient, right? So the first ingredient that I want to talk about was magnesium. Magnesium. And we use a magnesium called magnesium threonate. Magnesium threonate was discovered in 2004. So just, 16 years ago, 17 years ago. And doctors at MIT were the ones that did the research on it. But they found that magnesium threonate improves learning, makes it so you can learn better, faster, makes it so that your working memory. So if you and I are talking about something, and I say, "Hey, Andrea, do you remember this?" and that working memory, right? So it just pops right in your head. That's called the
Mm-hmm.
working memory. But they found that it also improves short and long-term memory. So if you see somebody in the grocery store that you haven't seen for 20 years, it improves that, um, being able to recognize them and then pop their name. Oh, hey, I remember that. And then short-term
Mm-hmm.
memory as well. Um, it stimulates the synapses. Do you know what the synapses are?
Any connections in the brain?
The connections, perfect. That's an easy way of remembering it. So it increases the synapses, and it improves the density of synapses. And so when you're trying to have better memory, right? It's more
Mm-hmm.
connections is better. More connections is better. So when
Right.
you say improve density, what that means is that there's more connections and more of these synapses. So that's what the magnesium threonate does. And so when you take a look at aging, what aging does is it causes you to start to lose these connections.
Mm.
So
So you need more
mag-
RAM in your computer.
you need more RAM in your computer. That's right. And so check this out. Check this out. Here's a stat. I wanted to get some stats. 32% of people in America, 32% of Americans get the recommended daily allowance, or what's recommended of magnesium.
Mm-hmm.
32%. 32%. That means over 75%, over 3/4 of Americans don't get enough magnesium in their diet.
That's amazing. And it runs right along with, kind of correlates with the health too of people,
Yep.
because
Yep. They all.
magnesium does a lot more than what you're just saying. Magnesium does a lot more things in the body.
It sure does. Magnesium is needed for bone health, and they show that we have the aging population, osteoporosis, osteopenia, all that. It's needed for cardiovascular health, nervous system health, all that. So,
Mm-hmm.
so one of the main ingredients in here, right, is magnesium threonate. The next one that's listed on there, curcumin longa, curcuma longa, and curcuma is that extract from turmeric,
Right.
right? And so turmeric has been used. It's one of the oldest recorded natural medicines. We've been using curcumin, turmeric, longer as a medicine, longer than any other medicine in the history of the world. They've got records going back over 5,000 years.
Wow.
Right? Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so they find that it too, anti-inflammatory, neuroprotection. It protects the brain. It helps with people that have dementia. It shows that
Mm-hmm.
with people with traumatic brain injury, if you fall and you hurt yourself, if you get in a car accident, it helps with that. It helps with Alzheimer's. It's an antioxidant. It improves cognition. I mean, there's just so many things about curcumin. I've got friends who have arthritis, and they use curcumin um, to keep the inflammation down with their arthritis. But here we're talking about for the brain health. Because like we talked about with inflammation last week when we did our talk on inflammation, right? It's it's
Right.
the it's one of the components, one of the major components in every chronic degenerative disease.
Yeah. We've talked about that so many times.
Yep, we sure have. Um, choline, choline, not choline like that's your name,
Mm-hmm.
but choline, Choline. They find that that helps with memory loss. It helps with recovery for people who have had stroke. It helps with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. And how does it work, Andrea? Do you know how choline works?
No, I don't.
So we were talking about those neural or those synapses, right? The connections. So
Mm-hmm.
what makes the synapse work? So you have these 4 or 5 connections, right? And so
Yeah.
between the connections, what connects the connections?
Choline.
Neurotransmitters, neurotransmitters,
Okay.
neurotransmitters. And so choline increases that communication between one side of the synapse and the other side. So it makes the connection work. It makes the connection work by increasing the availability of those neurotransmitters to jump across that gap in that synapse. You learning something today, right?
Yep.
Are you going to remember this?
Nope.
Come on, come on. So, so what does choline do? You're really good at summing it up for me. So, sum that up. What does choline do?
Oh, well, it's like the energy that you need to make the transmitters work. It's the spark.
It helps with the spark. It
Mm-hmm.
helps produce a stronger spark. Boom, that's a good way of describing it. Okay, the next ingredient in brain vitality, again, you'll be able to order it next week. It's called fenugreek. Fenugreek. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, when I was in college, I heard about fenugreek a lot. It was a treatment for diabetes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were using it a lot in diabetes. And that kind of goes along with, you know, what are they calling Alzheimer's now? They're calling Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
And so they found that fenugreek not only helps the diabetic patient, but they found that it helps to lower that risk of Alzheimer's disease. It lowers that risk of Parkinson's. It also helps with inflammation. You starting to see a common theme here with inflammation. We
Right.
mentioned inflammation with everything. And so fenugreek helps out with all of that stuff. It's
Is
in
there
there.
any other ingredients? Is
Oh,
that
we'll
it?
go over it.
4?
Yeah, we'll go. No, no, no. There's more. Um,
There's
but
more?
you know, when we're talking about these ingredients, right, a lot of companies, what they'll do is they'll sprinkle a little bit in there. But what do we do when we make a
Mm-hmm.
product? When Sizzle makes a product, right?
They formulate it so it has as much as was required for the success of the research, or even more if our biochemist thinks it needs more.
That's right. So we put in the therapeutic dose or more to make it work. Because otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
why have the product? If we were just going to sprinkle it in there just so we
Right.
can put it on, just so we can put it on the label, you know, a lot of companies do that. A lot of companies do that, and that's why over the course of the last year, Andrea, we've seen products like Brain Vitality hasn't been available now for probably 4 months, right? And
Right.
the reason why is because we can't get the active ingredients that we want, the active ingredients that we demand. We're not going to just use any old fenugreek that's on the market. We got to have the
Right.
highest quality because otherwise our product is going to be crap and it's not going to work. And we want to have a product that works. When I give this to my dad, you know, I gave this to my dad a couple years ago, and Dad's 83, and I gave it to my dad. And my dad, you've met him. You know, he's not a man of many
Mhm.
words, and he said to me, he said that in 2 weeks he could feel a difference with that. He said, I never want to go without that.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
Well,
so
2 years ago when you went to Australia, I did a little 15-minute doctor's live about brain vitality. And in doing that, I did some research. And of course, we can't make claims or anything, but the research showed that one woman, one researcher, female researcher, showed that some of the ingredients in our brain vitality actually reverse dementia.
wow. You know, and
Yep.
folks, I mean, if what if it's just a number of people? What if it's 4 or 5 people that say, "Hey, I noticed this." Isn't it worth
Mm-hmm.
giving it a try? Isn't it worth giving it a try? And you don't want to just try it for a day or two and say, "Oh, I didn't notice anything." You know.
Right. It takes
But you
more than
know,
that.
but you know how people are. They want it now. We want it now
Mhm.
society, and
Yep.
it doesn't work. You know, I used to tell people in my clinic, I used to tell people if you've had a condition for a year, it's gonna, and you've noticed symptoms for a year, it's gonna take you at least a month of doing everything to reverse those symptoms. If you've had it for 2 years, it's gonna take you at least 2 months.
Mhm.
And that's not 2 months it's gonna be corrected. That's 2 months that you're gonna see the symptoms going away. And then you can start working on the correction. So if you've got a magnesium deficiency, you're
Right.
not gonna fix it tomorrow. You're not gonna fix it by Sunday.
Right.
I mean, you can make it, you can improve it. So the next one is called galactomannans. Galactomannans. And
Galactomannans.
yeah, and I
It
was
it
reading
sounds
about
like
this.
an alien in Star Wars.
Yeah, we're probably going to have to change the name of it because it's kind of, it's gender, right? It's going to be galacto,
Oh, galacto womans.
it, yeah, galacto per, person things. I don't know. You know, I'm so sick of that stuff that's going on in the world. But they found that galactomannans regenerates the brain tissue.
Hmm.
Guess what other product we have galactomannans in?
I don't know.
Stemolytic.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I started reading about galactomannans when Tom sent me all that research on the Stemolytic a year ago, when Tom
Mm-hmm.
Senior, because he said when I go down to Australia, he said I want you to know all the ingredients. So he sent me like, I mean, a buttload of information. I sat there in that plane for 24 hours and I just read. I could hardly get to sleep on the plane. But galactomannans, yeah. So they found that it regenerates brain tissue, and so when you look at it, so if it does that, it's in our brain vitality product, and it's also in our stemolytic
Mm-hmm.
product. So it has to have something where we're getting rid of those senescent cells. So anyhow, and it works good with the curcumin and the fenugreek. Those two kind of work hand in hand. Another ingredient is called bacopa.
Bacopa.
Bacopa. Yeah, is it bacopa or bacopa?
It's however you want to say it,
Okay, I say bacopa because I like saying pa.
but I say.
Bacopa. So they find that this one increases the um, blood flow to the brain.
Well, that's a good thing to do.
That's a good
You
thing to do.
don't want to go
I know
without that.
I know some people that probably have lack of blood flow to their brain. I mean, at least they act like it. You should be taking this product. If I'm talking about you and
Shut up.
you know who you are. No, I'm not talking about you. Um, talking about people that are listening to the recording. But
Right.
and then they find that it also helps with balancing those neurotransmitters, right? And those neurotransmitters, again, where did we see them? In the synapses.
Mm-hmm.
So
The sparks.
uh, So Bacopa, right? Bacopa. Um,
Bacopa.
DMAE.
We have that in
DMAE.
we have that in our tea or coffee, right?
We have it in our green tea and we also have it in our coffee. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
Bacopa.
so.
That's what makes us have the healthiest coffee. But what other product do we have it in? In the highest levels would be in what product?
Bacopa?
Hmm.
Well, brain vitality, I guess.
No, 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 no. What other product?
I don't know.
TSX.
Oh, okay.
TSX. Why?
I don't know. Quit quizzing me. I don't know.
Well, but if I quiz you, it makes you think, and if they find that when you think,
That's what you
then
think.
you remember. Then you remember. So Bacopa is really good because it also, it's kind of, it's not the like what I would say the gold product for telomere support. That would be that would be the astragalus. But
Strangulus.
Bacopa is like the silver. So if I'm giving you gold medals and silver medals, Bacopa would be a silver medal.
Okay.
Yeah. DMAE is an ingredient. It's found in every cell in your body, but they found that that a number of years ago, I don't remember how many years ago, they were using it actually as a pharmaceutical product, and they found that it helped with people with different kinds of brain diseases and things like that. But they were using it as a drug. So in some countries, I think in Australia, they actually list it as a drug, as a scheduled drug. But it improves brain function. It improves memory. Um, Tom really liked it. I know Tom Senior really liked it as an ingredient. But because we do so much business in Australia and some countries that ban the use of it, we might actually take it out of some of the products. But it increases acetylcholine, right? And we've talked about choline, right? And what does choline do? Go back in their short-term memory. What does it do?
That's the spark
It
between
increases
the synapses.
There you go. It increased the spark. So the DMAE increases the choline, which increases the spark, and it helps increase those signals that help with the brain. But the other thing they found with DMAE is that it helps reduce these beta amyloid plaques.
Yeah, that people get when they have dementia.
When they have Alzheimer's, right? So it reduces the beta amyloid plaques, right? So sounds like a great product to have in a great ingredient to have in a brain product, right? You know,
Yeah.
who wouldn't want to have DMAE in a brain product, right? But then we talk
That's right.
about phos. This one's a kind of cool one. Phosphatidylserine. Say that 3 times fast.
Phosphatidylserine. Phosphatidylserine. Phosphatidylserine.
Kind of a cool word, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. So what does it do? It's protective for Alzheimer's disease. Neuroprotective.
Okay.
Neuroprotective. And isn't that what it's all about? Prevention?
Well, of course, because it's easier to prevent something than it is to correct it.
That's right. You know, years ago they used to say an apple a day keeps the doctor away, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So three brain vitality keeps the doctor away.
That's right.
Remember that. You know. So and then the last ingredient, last 2 ingredients in the product is black pepper and Szechuan pepper.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's my notes. That's my notes for today. So you tell me, why would we put black pepper and a little bit hotter version of pepper called Szechuan pepper? Why would we throw those into a
Because it
brain
makes
product?
the curcumin work better.
Yeah, what it
The
does is,
turmeric.
yeah, I mean when you throw the pepper in there, pepper is a spice, and it irritates the cell, and the cell opens up so that the other ingredients can go in more easily. So it
Hmm.
increases the bioavailability, and so we put black pepper and Szechuan pepper in there. Hmm. Hmm. You know, who sat there and just thought about all this stuff? You know, who was the scientist that sat there and discovered that, hey, look, if we put black pepper in here, we can make this work better.
Right?
You know, chances are it was some ancient Chinese guy,
Uh-huh.
right? I mean, Szechuan, that sounds Chinese, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's Oriental anyhow. And so they discovered this stuff called pepper, and they were probably sitting there and they're going, "Hey, Andrea, if we take more of this pepper and we sprinkle it onto our food, I think better. I feel better, right?"
Mm-hmm.
I like pepper. I throw pepper on all my food. I don't use a lot of salt, but I like using pepper. That's maybe why I'm super smart.
I doubt it. I think you're just super smart.
Because I read all the time. This is all I do. I'm boring,
I know, right?
right? I'm boring. Um, but you know, when we're talking about brain health, you got to talk about those types of things, and it makes you think. Okay, so if I do this and this and this, and if I do that and that and that, I can make a difference. And they're saying right now that in the next 30 years, by the year 2050, we're going to see a significant increase in the number of people with Alzheimer's disease. A significant increase in the number of people with Alzheimer's disease, and that's not good.
Well, for sure, people need to take charge of their own health. Like they need to take charge of a lot of things in their own life and not count on other people or other things, other situations to do it for them,
Yep.
but to take charge. So they're
Yeah.
going to have to make decisions to make good choices so they have the help they need, because ultimately your health is the most important thing in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we've gotten to be kind of a lazy society in a lot of ways. One of the ways that we're
Mhm.
lazy is that we depend on our medical system. We like, oh, I can do whatever I want. I can eat this, I can do that. And when I get sick, I can just go to the doctor or the hospital and they'll take care of it. Well, the
Yeah, they'll
problem
just
with
give
the
me pills.
yeah, the problem with that is that, if you wait until you're sick and then you say, "Hey doc, fix me,"
Hmm.
you might have caused permanent damage to whatever thing, your heart, your liver, your lungs, whatever, and you don't want to do that, and
No.
so I always try and tell people that prevention, being proactive, is the way to look at it, and so I like looking at things being proactive. I mean, um, my son and I went to Florida last week, and it was 80 degrees last Tuesday. Now it's I doubt if it's 20, but it's supposed to get up to 40 today. But not going to talk about the weather. But um, you know, I was talking to my son about the fact that I take just me myself, well, and my dogs, my two dogs, but between the three of us, um, I take about $500 worth of nutritional products a month.
You should be super healthy.
I take about $500 in nutrition products a month, and you think about that, people go, "Oh my God, how do you do that? Why do you do that?" Well,
Hmm.
you know, I realize that I'm not getting everything from the food I eat. And I think I eat pretty good. I don't eat a lot of junk foods, I don't, drink an excess of alcohol. I don't smoke,
Hmm.
anything like that. I mean, if you went in my fridge right now, well, there's nothing in my fridge right now because I've been gone for 2 weeks, but an old bottle of ketchup in there, but some pickles maybe. But, you know, I know how to eat healthy, but yet I still
Hmm.
take all the vitamins because I know that my food doesn't have the nutrition that it once had.
Right.
What about all those people that don't know that stuff?
They pay the consequences down the road.
They pay the consequences down the road, and that's exactly
Yep.
it. So, um, so we got to think about those things, and we
There's
got to
a really good verse. There's a really good verse in the Bible that says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge."
lack of knowledge. Yeah, lack of knowledge creates lack
Yep.
of
And
nutrition,
that's,
right?
yeah, well, that's what we bring every Tuesday. We bring some knowledge for people so they can make better decisions,
Yeah, better
step
choices.
out and try something that will save themselves.
Yeah. So
Yep.
brain vitality. It's one that, like I said, I didn't run out. You know, I cut back on how many I was taking because when they said that, hey, we're going to be out of this, you know, when Sizzle said we can't get some of the ingredients, we're going to be out of this for a while. I cut back. I don't do a full dose. I haven't done a full dose now for a couple of months. But I
Mm-hmm.
figured that I'm better off taking a little bit less dose.
And
And
running out. Yep.
yeah, so anyhow,
Well, thanks, Doc, for stopping by on Tuesday and especially after your big long trip to bring us some new good information.
all right, I'll let you close out the call.
I think you, oh, you froze up a little bit there.
I
Okay, well, thank you. And for people who are just, popping in and seeing this, or somebody just shared this with you, we do this live on Facebook. It's called Doctor's Clinic. Doc Fizz with Friends is the name of the page. It's open to the public. You can come in there and follow us and tune in every Tuesday. If you can't make it during noon at Tuesday at Eastern time, you can just see the lives, scroll back and see any lives. Most of them have topics, and you can discover information that you might find important to your health. So thanks, Doc. Have a great day.
thank you. Bye, all.